From a saving grace of Call of Duty to an unfathomable disgrace, the might that Modern Warfare 2019 had has gone away in Modern Warfare 3 2023. How can a story that had such a strong foundation, such strong characters since Modern Warfare 2019, could turn out into a garbled mess that is Modern Warfare 3 2023? So what went right for MW 2019 and what went wrong for MW3 2023? And where the hell is MW2 in all of this? Let's talk about it. Before we jump into the story, to understand why MW 2019 felt so special, we gotta look behind a few years and the titles that were released. So join me into a short Call of Duty nostalgia train before we jump into the current Modern Warfare series. Let's go to a time 11 years ago. The year was 2013. Everyone was still riding high on the Black Ops 2 experience, both campaign and multiplayer, until Call of Duty Ghosts dropped. And we all know the story. As a guy who wouldn't even be into the gaming for a lot more years to come, knew that COD Ghosts was something to avoid. But we gotta give credit where it is due. COD Ghosts was just like Black Ops 2, at least in one aspect. They were similar in a sense that they both unified the COD community, where everyone loved Black Ops 2, everyone hated Ghosts. But enough about Ghosts, cause coming after in the following year would be Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Hold on, let me check. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
You give them that, and they'll follow. And that's where I come in.
The story was a tad bit different here. Now COD was jumping into the prevailing trend of futuristic gameplay and fast movement, and the jetpacks. But the game wasn't all bad. It was divisive. Some people were happy with it, some weren't as much. Black Ops 2 had struck a perfect balance between boots on the ground and futuristic themed gameplay. From that to a letdown of a COD Ghosts, people were thrown straight into this new futuristic theme where everything was advanced. Okay, I really need to work on my puns. So point being, while for some it worked, for others it didn't. But that's the multiplayer side. Story-wise, everyone was on the same page. Advanced Warfare story was decent. Gameplay-wise as well, there were a lot of new improvements and new things and jetpacks.
Give me a break.
The infamous 3-year development cycle strikes again, with Treyarch handling the reins this time. This game wasn't good or bad. No, this game was too much. With fanbase already divided with the futuristic theme, we get yet another game with futuristic theme and hyperfast movement, and community wasn't happy. Don't get me wrong, they weren't angry, they just weren't happy. They would prefer boots on the ground style more. Yet, the trend prevails and we get Black Ops 3.
We wanted a perfect future. And fuck, we got it.
But to think about it for a second, with Black Ops 1 set in past, Black Ops 2 being in both near past and near future, Black Ops 3 was always going to be a future-based game, whether it was a trend at that time or not. It was meant to be a futuristic game. And for the campaign, unlike previous year where Advanced Warfare's campaign was genuinely good, BO3 was weird, or creative, or a bit too much out of the box, or train go boom. However you wish to describe it, it wasn't completely unenjoyable. As weird as it was, I was actually excited to see where the story was going, and also excited to see the train go boom. Yeah, even if the train didn't go boom, people's minds were about to. Cause the game that was going to release next year was...
The needs of our planet were greater than she could supply. So we sent men beyond the reaches of our atmosphere.
We will eradicate the authority of the Earth!
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. We are well into 2016 now, and for the third consecutive year, we get yet another futuristic themed game, and community had it enough. They were harsh towards this game, very harsh. If multiplayer was the culprit, campaign was the innocent victim. Campaign, even after being a pretty solid one, suffered the burns of immense heat coming from the multiplayer side. And it became one of those children where, after growing up, the father would say,
"Perhaps I treated you too harshly."
Even if Infinite Warfare had a ton of great gameplay innovations, it just didn't have the setting that was appealing to the fanbase anymore. Now looking back at it, it's not as bad as we made it out to be. But it doesn't matter, because devs listened.
Lieutenant, tell them what we're all about.
No mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great.
Welcome to the Bloody First. You're a long way from Texas, farm boy.
COD was back on its original boots on the ground theme, and fans were happy about it. COD was back to its roots, and it was fun and refreshing. The game was Call of Duty World War II. It reminded community what made us fall in love with COD in first place. While it didn't add anything new or exceptional, things were still looking great because this is what fans wanted, and this is what fans needed. A simple dish with very few ingredients but executed to the perfection. Campaign is one of the really good ones. Characters were careable, I don't know if that's a word, but we cared about those characters, and the story, while nothing groundbreaking, was still a pretty enjoyable experience. To some, it was one of the best COD stories. The campaign was a perfect example of staying in the mold of what works and doing it perfectly. For once in a long time, COD only needed to be what it was, just another boots on the ground FPS game. For once, COD didn't need to innovate to be something new. COD didn't need to soar as high into the sky as possible, but it needed to dig as deep as possible into its roots. And it did just that. With a decent multiplayer experience and a pretty solid campaign, it looked like COD was starting to stand on its feet again, and it wouldn't be long until we see it running as fast as it could. 2 or 3 more bangers and Call of Duty would be the biggest franchise again, as if it wasn't. It started to look like COD was going in the right direction, and in upcoming years it would once again gain that cult-like following it once had. It started to look like COD would become the Call of Duty it once was. Until...
Alone, you can put up a fight. But together, you can start a war.
Treyarch was at the reins again. This game also received Activision's classic 3-year development cycle. Everyone was excited to see what it was going to be, how it was going to be. Would the train go boom this time? Or was it gonna be a plane that goes boom this time? Wait, that happened in old Modern Warfare 3. Wait, new Modern Warfare 3, now Russian is also playing go boom. We gotta talk about that. More on that later. So yeah, everyone was excited until Activision nuked all of our expectations when it dropped Black Ops 4. Future again. God. And oh yes, no campaign. Seriously, what the fuck? Bro, Call of Duty Vanguard has a campaign, although it isn't something it should boast about, but at least it had it. Oh yeah, the jetpacks. They were there, not in multiplayer this time, because for the first time Call of Duty had an actual Battle Royale mode, and credit where it is due, Blackout, the BR mode, was actually pretty fun. Again, some liked it and some didn't. But it just wasn't the COD that was supposed to be the successor of World War II. Quite polarizing to last year, where it was looking like Call of Duty was coming back to its glory. COD was now standing with its one foot in grave. One more failure and COD would be done. Just imagine the thought of not seeing a COD release for unknown amount of time. Just imagine we not getting a new COD for foreseeable future. That was a quite literal possibility. And now Call of Duty needed a miracle itself. And it got one. This marks the year when COD was saved. This is the year when Call of Duty got the miracle it desperately needed. Because the game that released this year was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Before continuing, I would really appreciate if you could make the train go boom on both like and subscribe buttons. As it's a very small channel, I need you guys' support. And just know that I will be diving deep into the stories of new COD Modern Warfare series, so this is your spoiler warning. I have put in chapters, so if you have played till the Modern Warfare 2, watch until then and drop off the MW3 part, although it wouldn't matter that much. So when we got to know that COD 2019 was a soft reboot of Modern Warfare series, fans were skeptical, but also excited. Because what would devs be doing with some of our favorite characters was something everyone wanted to see. If they fail, how deep would they fall? And if they succeed, how great would it be? One of the most important aspects of a COD every year is its campaign. That is its story and narrative. And this COD might just take the cake for one of the best campaigns. It's that good. I would say it's a movie that we're getting parts of to play as a game. The way this was designed shows that a lot of care was put into this game. The beginning itself is enough to take that whoa out of you. A group of armed men about to initiate their terrorist attack. A suicide bomber about to detonate himself along with hundreds, if not thousands of civilians. And the campaign begins. I don't know about you guys, but the only two words that came out of my mouth after watching this cinematic were, "Oh yeah." And in a very erotic way. My mom thought I was having some afternoon delight with a girl. Man, did you come crashing through the door. Anyways, we're getting sidelined. The beauty of this campaign isn't only in the action-packed cinema-level missions. In fact, those missions take the backseat to some of the most intricate, nuanced, well-structured, and interconnected narrative-based story. The way the first two missions lay the base for an entire game is just beautiful. Everything that happens in these missions matters to the story coming ahead. In the first mission, we are playing as Americans. We go to secure Russian gas, which was to be used as a weapon, but the Marines' convoy was attacked by terrorists, presumably by terrorist group Al-Qatala. And we're not playing as any member of 141, we're playing as Alex, a CIA operator, a completely new character. In second mission, we will be playing as Sergeant Kyle Garrick. In this mission, we see the full-scale terrorist attack which we were teased in the beginning taking place in London. And the group that was responsible for the attack is Al-Qatala, the same one we're assuming who stole the gas. But back to the American side. Russia has stopped all the deconfliction channels. American fleet is pushing in the Black Seas, and the gas weapons, they are still missing in the wild. What now? We go to Urzikstan because the Wolf, the leader of Al-Qatala, he is operating from that country, and the country is under its forced occupation by Russia. So Alex, the CIA operator, is there on the ground searching for the stolen Russian gas, which is stolen by the group that is operating from the same country which Russia is trying to currently occupy. There, Alex contacts the commander of Urzistan's local militia, Farah Karim.
You know Commander Karim?
We're acquainted.
Farah believes gas is stolen by Al-Qatala. So does Russia, and the attack on Urzikstan by Russia intensifies. Here we get to taste the intricacy of the situation one more time. Russia thinks AQ stole the gas and increases the force of its attack. Effects of this aren't only faced by AQ but also the innocent people and the local militia who is already fighting against the Russian occupation. Now comes the Americans, who tried to steal the Russian gas, ended up losing many Marines, and now want their piece of meat in all of this. So they join hands with local militia. And guess what? At this point, we're only presuming that Al-Qatala stole the gas. I mean, if that isn't beautiful storytelling, then I don't know what is. Everything was so perfectly entangled with one another, leading all the different fronts somehow getting to work with and fight against one another. You wanna see character development? Welcome to the master class.
Go.
Yes, ma'am. Good luck.
Remember Alex, that CIA operator? That character managed to do something Ghost from old Modern Warfare couldn't. Make me care about him. Bold words, I know, and I stand by them. Fight me in comments. There are times when we witness the world in this campaign through Alex's perspective. We see Urzistan's local militia struggle to fight against Russian occupation. We see them get their names tainted as terrorists because of the actions of Al-Qatala. We see them fight for peace, and we see them through Alex. And when we see local militia lose their only allies, US Army, and get marked as a terrorist group by them, we see Alex care. We see Alex choose his friends and join the local militia in their fight, probably leaving his career behind. And in the end, we see Alex sacrifice himself for the cause he and his friends were fighting for. What a character, right? But then he's back in the next game like nothing ever happened. I know, we're gonna talk about it. More on that later. just hold on for now. Jokes aside, along with Alex, we see another character that also received so much care, Farah Kareem, the commander of Urzistan's local militia. We see her fight for peace. We see her care for her people. We see her sacrifice and understand the true meaning of it. And then we see her flashback. A kid trapped under the rubble along with her mother somehow manages to come out alive, leaving her dead mother there as she sees the Russian tanks and soldiers killing every living being in their way. A kid who makes her way home with her father to take her brother along with them, watches her father die at the hand of a Russian soldier, get kidnapped along with her brother while trying to escape by the general of Russian army, stays prisoner until one day escaping the prison because someone came to help. Someone responded the message she sent.
Who's Commander Karim?
I'm Karim.
We got your messages.
Lieutenant John Price. Where are the others?
In there. Straight ahead.
Hence the term, an old acquaintance. It's characters like these that made us fall in love with Call of Duty in first place. And the twist? I mean, no COD is complete without a twist. The gas, which everyone believed was stolen by Al-Qatala? Well, guess what? The person who actually stole the gas was no one other than Farah's brother, Hadir. And he's gonna use the gas against Russia, angering Russia even more. So now we have to stop Hadir, but we have to make sure that it is an unsanctioned mission, otherwise it's gonna lead to war between Russia and USA. After we capture Hadir, we offer him to Russia as a prisoner, a bargaining chip for peace. A character that was built up so good was ruined in future games, just like they did with Alex. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we haven't even talked about any member of 141. The only old face we see in this game is Captain Price. The good thing about this game is that Price as character was elevated because the game was so good. Price was just a suitable addition to the story. It still would have been a good story without Price anyways, but the way Price as a character was used in this game and the way they treated him with respect is respectable. Somebody please send me a dictionary.
That's how it works.
Where do we draw the line, sir?
You draw the line wherever you need it, Sergeant. End of the day, someone has to make the enemy scared of the dark. We get dirty, and the world stays clean. That's the mission.
Aside from the story, gameplay-wise also, this game is a literal step above its predecessors. And the mission design was so immaculately beautiful in some of the missions. The Clear House mission literally became a cult classic. Another example is Embassy mission, dividing the whole area by bulletproof glass, hence restricting the play area. The map design was so perfect. New style of mission, leading someone with camera feed. New ways to innovate the simple defend the rooftop mission by adding a twist. It's all dark, you have to use the flares to light up the ground to be able to see the enemies that are advancing towards you. Oh my god, why is it turning me on? And remember the sniper mission? Gameplay wise, this game was a masterpiece. With bar set so high, everyone was excited to see what's gonna happen in Modern Warfare 2. Where would the story go? And with the tease of Task Force 141, it would be an understatement to say that everyone was excited. After waiting for 3 whole years, in 2022, we finally get our hands on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And remember when I said the previous game was a movie and parts of which we were getting to play as a game? Modern Warfare 2 experience is exactly opposite to that. It's a game whose parts we're getting to watch as beautifully rendered cinematics. It's not a bad thing, it's a choice from developer's side, and I respect that. Where previous one had multiple narratives very complexly tied to each other, this one however had a pretty streamlined storytelling, and if there's Coast in story, well, his intro better be a banger. We see an arms deal happening between Russia and Iran, and then we see all of them getting exploded by a missile, while Coast stands there and says, in this game, there is a single plot element in each mission that is gonna continue forward to the next mission, and hence moving the entire story forward. But the story isn't very tightly packed. and we start to see the cracks right since the beginning. When I said every COD has a plot twist in its story, I meant one major plot twist. But since the story needs to have something that covers the crack, it uses the plot twist as its primary tool to do so. And it does it many times until the prospect of adding another plot twist starts to feel stale and boring. For example, in second mission itself, we're trying to capture Major Hassan, second in command to General Ghobrani, who we blew to bits in the beginning. We find missiles at his place. American missiles. Twist. Alright, another one. Major Hassan is still missing and we are in Amsterdam looking for leads, where we find Mexican cartel is involved in all of it. Just imagine if their plan was to put some drugs in missiles, and instead of missiles exploding and destroying the targets, it exploded the drugs, and now drug is in the air. Everyone is high and everyone is addicted. What a masterful advertising campaign it would be for cartel. Alright, anyways, and now the obvious twist. Shepard isn't all good, and we knew that. It really didn't need any figuring out. And that brings me to my next point, poor writing. Where last game excelled at some of the best writing, this one struggled in both character and overall story writing. As for character writing, take Shepard for example. He is introduced as a hardcore American patriotic general. Writers had a once-in-a-decade chance to do the unobvious and make Shepard a good guy. Just because he was a bad guy in last one doesn't mean he has to be in this one as well. But he is, and we can see it even without them showing it. We see his suspicious behavior, his decisions, his hastiness when it comes to the missiles, and how he wants to destroy them at all costs, so all the evidence will also be gone. And last nail in the coffin was him not wanting to secure Laswell when she got kidnapped. I will at least try to hide that he's a bad guy. Throughout the story, it felt like game was trying to hide that Shepard was a bad guy and was gonna reveal that to us through a very plot twisty and mind-boggling moment and leave us speechless, making it seem like we never suspected him in the first place. Shepard was a badly written character. It wasn't just characters that were affected by bad writing. Story also took a hit. There are times when decisions are made just for the sake of taking story forward. For example, we go to Amsterdam in second mission. Why? Because Amsterdam is a smuggling hub. Why is Amsterdam a smuggling hub? Is there any other smuggling hub? Are we sure that we want to put all of our bets on Hassan being in Amsterdam? Well, coincidentally, we were right, and we see a deal happening between Al-Qatala and Cartel. Alright, another example of bad writing? The letting Hassan go moment. But for context, let's take a look at story for a bit. In that deal between AQ and Cartel in Amsterdam, we find out that a VIP is being shipped to USA through Mexico, probably Hassan. So Laswell contacts her allies in Mexican Special Forces, and we are introduced to an immediate fan favorite character, Alejandro Vargas. Hassan was being hidden by Cartel in Las Almas. So along with Mexican Special Forces, SOAP, and Coast, we have an American PMC, Shadow Company. And folks, this is where the term modern warfare shines. Technically, America cannot start a war in Mexico due to all the diplomatic complications, but to execute the job in Las Almas, a large amount of manpower was needed. So they hire a PMC to do the work for them. We capture Hassan from there, we talk to him, try to threaten him and all. But this is where the bad and questionable writing kicks in. While interrogating him, we hear this line.
General, killing Hassan is an act of war. Keeping him is illegal. Right now, he is too hot to hold.
Are you fucking kidding me? If you knew that since the beginning, then why send us in first place? Sure, we got some information from his mobile, but just to let go the biggest threat to your country because it's illegal? I don't know if it's just me or is everyone also lost here. You are literally bending the rules of war by sending a PMC because you cannot do it yourself, but you can't keep your number one target. Heck, can't you make the PMC keep him and pay the PMC heck load of money to keep it off the books? I am sure USA can spend up to a growing country's GDP worth of money, so why not do that? And oh wait, we think we're done with bad writing?
We got a banger for y'all today, baby!
Since we can't make Hassan answer where the missile's at due to legal complications, our only plausible option becomes to talk to the person who is shipping those missiles. El Sin Nombre, head of the cartel. So how do we approach it, you might ask? Another attack, but we need El Sin Nombre alive, and we don't even know who El Sin Nombre is, what's his name, how he looks, if he even looks. So what now? This is a perfect situation for writers to come up with something very clever or very dumb. And unfortunately in this case, it's the latter. El Sin Nombre was gonna have a meeting with her man. Oh yeah, she is El Sin Nombre. We somehow had to get in the house, find out who El Sin Nombre is, and ask her, where the damn missile's at? So what's our approach to this? We send Soap in, walking on his feet, unarmed, knocking on the front door, hoping they won't kill him on sight.
Damn!
What if you get killed?
I'll take my chances.
Okay, so what after you get in? You got a plan or something?
Tell them everything.
Everything. Mexican Special Forces, American PMC's Shadow Company, Philip Graves. All truth.
Simple, isn't it? You go in, you tell them everything, and they will tell you everything. How convenient. If that isn't lazy writing, then I don't know what is. But in the end, like most Call of Duty campaigns, it isn't all bad. I know, I've been talking shit about this game for past few minutes and now I am all good with it. Honestly, yes, because credit must go where it is due. For example, where this game failed Shepard as a character, it succeeded with Coast and Soap. And let's not forget Alejandro and Rodolfo. Let's take Alejandro and Rodolfo first. From just another two random Mexican Special Force characters to the members of the Coast team. These characters were shown care and depth in their writing. From helping us to capture Hassan in Las Almas to getting their base undertaken by Graves, to then freeing them and then capturing back their base and killing Graves in process. This short summary may look dull and boring, but the moments we have with these characters, from their behavior to their dialogues in certain situations, to getting to know a tiny bit about their backstories through normal conversations with other characters. Alejandro and Rodolfo became my favorite instantly. And when you're bringing back older fan-favorite characters that defined a whole generation of gamers, you better do it right. And I'm so glad that they did. Unlike cold intro of Coast, Soap's intro was more like introducing a friend to your friend, and the friend is not interested in your friend at all. And it's always fun to see Coast's reaction to Soap like it's some sort of drag to go on a mission with him. Remember the Last of Us mission? That mission alone gave more character development to Coast than we saw in the entirety of old Modern Warfare 2. Again, bold words, you know where to agree or disagree with me. With the stealthy setting and absence of intense music, it really felt like Coast was instructing me on what to do next. And kudos to all the people who worked on that mission. You nailed it. We really feel the bond between Soap and Coast growing in that mission. Call it teacher and student, older and younger brother. Their connection felt genuine. From character writing to dialogue writing to voice acting, I loved these characters and how they resonated with us players. Aside from the story, one more important thing about campaign is its gameplay. So how do you spice up the plain old FPS game? What can you add? And how will players react to it? These and many more are the questions developers have to decide on. Modern Warfare 2 had the most innovative missions gameplay-wise. Just take a look at the most fun mission in the history of COD. We are securing Laswell from AQ. We have to stop the AQ convoy before they cross the border. This mission starts as a normal mission where some NPCs are chasing the convoy with their cars and bikes, and we are above firing from a helicopter until the helicopter is shot and we're dangling down from a rope, dodging the vehicles, killing enemies, getting shot at, and all of this while yelling,
I'm not dead, Nick! I'm hanging from a bloody rope!
The chaos that I felt in those moments was exhilarating. From that, we land on a truck and starts the mission of Grand Theft Auto. Seriously, you hijack enemy vehicle, move forward, kill enemy in the next vehicle, hijack that one, and so on. How do you make that more interesting? After certain checkpoints, enemies ahead will start throwing landmines on the road. Vehicles are exploding left and right, so you have to dodge those vehicles and the landmines as well. After that, enemies are releasing bomb drones, so you gotta shoot them down before they come close and explode your car along with you. From then, there is a literal APC, so get close to that while dodging its attack and destroy it. And then, you get a grenade launcher and explode the living gas out of enemy vehicles. Oh, did I mention? Farah makes her comeback in this mission. Gameplay-wise, there's another mission that stands out for making it feel like we're literally playing another game. You guessed it. You know, the Last of Us type mission. Collect items, craft tools from it, stay stealthy, use the tools sparingly. It was an intense mission. Another great example of great gameplay would be the final mission. There are many good things about that mission, but this one really stood out to me. You are walking down the building from outside, so you're having this top-side down view of the enemies. It really felt disorienting shooting them from that. Yes, you can change the orientation, but come on, who would do that? You didn't, right? And last but not least, it would be a sin to not talk about the upgraded, upscaled, and more grander version of All Gilead Up. And in the end, we also get to see what actually was Shepard trying to hide, a mission that went wrong. Given all the good and bad things, this game made me feel satisfied in the end. And even though it's not perfect, it still had the classic Call of Duty vibe to it. And it is safe to say that even after faltering for a bit, this game had a soul of classic Call of Duty campaign.
Welcome to the City of Souls.
And I loved it. After a successful sequel, at least in terms of campaign, Warzone, fans were excited to see what's up ahead in Modern Warfare 3. With them also teasing Makarov and no Russian, it would be an understatement to say that community was hyped. But with the initial promise with Modern Warfare 2 that it would have a 2-year support cycle, fans were not expecting a new game. However, we still got one. And it would have been fine if the game was good, but we got this.
Choices have consequences.
Now, with Makarov back, we are expecting a way better story than previous ones. We want to see us getting shocked, we want to have our jaw dropped, we want to pause the game holding our head asking what the fuck did I just witness? At least that is what I was expecting. And then we start with this mission, a rendered down mixture of 2 missions from old Modern Warfare 2 and MW3. Not a great start, but what about the actual story? Let's talk about it, cause I have some things to talk. Story starts pretty decent. We get the Gulag mission where we free Makarov, and we immediately see him mobilizing his forces and stealing American missiles from Urzikstan. Why would he need American missiles? He has his own. And then he steals a highly concentrated gas from Urzikstan's nuclear plant.
Only got away with the chemicals.
Affirmative.
The amount he steals is enough to kill a whole country.
They made off with enough to kill a whole country.
What could his motives be? Does he want to attack a superpower country with American missiles he stole? And not just the missiles, but missiles capped with chemical warheads. Does he want to attack and start a literal world war? That would be commendable. And I won't lie, game had me in first few missions. Out of the few it actually had. The direction story was going in was actually dark and grittier take on Modern Warfare. Makarov has American missiles and Urzikstan's chemical gas. He has started his attack on Urzikstan. He has attacked a plane filled with Russian people and made it look like a terrorist attack carried out by Urzikstan's local militia. And little detail here, he carried out this attack while the plane was flying above Urzikstan. He fired those American missiles he stole on a Russian military base, killing I don't know how many soldiers, and the blame was going on Urzikstan and USA. He did all of that within 72 hours after his release from Gulag, and I was liking the direction story was going in. Makarov's plan was good, execution on it was even better. But then story decided to take the safest route possible. You can't have too many controversies, otherwise you'd be cancelled. Yeah, mate. Makarov was killing with his execution on his plan. Oh, the puns. But Activision was failing. There are 4 aspects to this failure named Modern Warfare 3. 1 is the story itself. 2nd is cheap imitations. 3rd, wasted characters. And 4th, you guessed it, gameplay. Let's talk about story first. With setup so good, you might be wondering how could it go wrong? Well, one part of it is the easy and non-consequential route this game takes. After the No Russian mission, the world was thinking Urzikstan bad. And with the proof, Urzikstan would become a threat to the world, which it wasn't. but it wouldn't have mattered because Konis, the Russian PMCs led by Makarov, would actually have an incentive to capture Urzikstan. They would have been neutralizing a threat to the world. They may not have become heroes to the world, but what's more important is that they wouldn't have become villains to the world, which they otherwise would have been while capturing Urzikstan. And we can even go a layer deeper and talk about what Kremlin's response to all of this would be. Remember, Konis are PMC, not actual Russian military, and situation could have gotten way more complicated, but then let's not do that because it's a huge hassle that the developers or their superiors. Let's make a campaign and not deal with any kind of complications and controversies that might come with it. And they made something that is shy of even calling itself a Call of Duty campaign. So we send Farah looking down the crash site to delete the proof and kill down Konis who were there collecting that proof, so no one faces any severe consequences.
We got
another
banger for y'all today, baby.
I hope you don't mind, Tim. The mission, where the Russian military base is gassed up due to American missiles. What about it? Exactly, what about it? What happened about it? Nothing. Russia forgot about it? Cause I didn't see anything happening. Then for some reason, we have Shepard still meddling his bald head between the matters cause he wants a win on his name? I don't know, but old Shepard wasn't as shallow. Even in Modern Warfare 2, 2022, Shepard wasn't a great character, but they redeemed him at least a little bit when they showed the events that happened in the mission where he was sending missiles to Urzikstan, to Farah and keeping it off the books. But then the convoy was attacked by Konis and missiles were lost, hence making the entire events called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022 happen. But in MW3, I don't even know what he's doing, because for once it felt like he was working with Makarov, then he was captured by Makarov. Confusing. This campaign was too busy playing with itself and trying to figure out what it wanted to do. And what about the most hyped mission, the No Russian? We literally have like 2 minutes of actual gameplay. Makarov put a bomb on us and flew away and plane go boom. That's the mission, baby. Story wasn't the only aspect that led to the downfall of MW3. Second aspect is cheap imitations of old assets. I would have called it stealing of ideas from old Call of Duty, but since Activision owns the old Call of Duties as well, calling it stealing would be inappropriate. Opening mission itself is a combination of 2 outstanding missions from old Modern Warfare 2 and 3. One is Gulag itself, where we secured the prisoner 627, also known as Captain Price, and the other is Hunter Killer from old MW3. Another example is the new No Russian mission. They had to bring back No Russian, so they put the mission in a similar setting to the Turbulence from old MW3. I know there isn't a Russian president we're trying to capture. In this new one, we actually have Russian innocent people who we are trying to blow to bits. But it doesn't matter because in both of those missions, Makarov ultimately had only one motive: to provoke Russia, and plane ultimately goes boom in both missions. There may be more similarities between other missions. If you know any, let me know in comments. It's as if they ran out of ideas. Activision Marvel-fied the Modern Warfare 3, relying too much on fan-favorite characters, older missions, and Easter eggs to carry the burden of what is actually a dull and pointless story. Yes, I know, dull, pointless, same thing. Dictionary, you're sending it, right? Despite having a rich pool of characters which were both interesting and likable, the game does a very poor job in developing them any further.
Why the mask?
To hide my face.
Characters that were once complex and engaging now seem flat and uninteresting. There is a stark lack of character development and growth in MW3. Not only that, but there are characters which were brought back from the dead without any explanation. For instance, Alex. He was brought back from the dead because, well, he didn't die in that sacrifice he made. Not even once does the game mention Alex's sacrifice. He's just back chilling like nothing ever happened. From being one of the best protagonists in MW 2019 to just another sacrificial pawn in MW3 2023. This is a proper murder of a character. Oh, and Graves is also back, and I would not have minded him coming back because it's a quite literal possibility that he was never in that tank, but the way game handles this situation is also very questionable. The story progresses like it never happened. He's there since the first mission, and I know it was teased in some season for multiplayer, but I didn't know if I liked the aspect of touching the story from outside of the campaign just for the sake of providing more content in Battle Pass and making it seem like a common knowledge in next campaign. What is opposite of bringing back characters? Yes, killing them. And we have seen quite a load of characters die throughout the history of Call of Duty. We still have those emotional scars from death of our beloved characters. Don't worry, I'm not gonna talk about any deaths outside of this game, because when a character dies, it almost feels like a part of you also dies along with it, scarring you for the rest of your life. And as you grow older, those scars take the form of nostalgia and grow only deeper. After a few years, when we look back to those characters, we think about all the things these characters did, what they stood for, and how they left us. All of these memories come and go, leaving a melancholic smile on our faces. Call of Duty isn't the biggest franchise just because it's an FPS game with big budget. It's the biggest franchise because throughout the years of different Call of Duties, we have met characters that took us along with them in their journey. A journey filled with ups and downs, a journey filled with good and evil, a journey filled with death and sacrifices, a journey filled with character. Now Call of Duty MW3 had characters filled to brim with character development and growth from previous Call of Duties. Now all MW3 had to do was not fuck them up. You don't want to give any further development to any of these characters? Fine. Just don't ruin what you already got. If not for you, then for us, fans. Do not ruin any character.
Fuck you.
And for one last time today, they did just that. They killed off Soap, with story being a pretty generic one, looking almost like copy of old Modern Warfare's, a game with no better ideas, a game that was and felt rushed, a game that wasn't even supposed to come out according to the studio itself. Developers needed a big enough carpet to sweep all of this mess beneath it, and they found just the perfect thing. Another sacrificial pawn, John Soap McTavish. If you know the story is rushed and not fleshed out enough, then at least do not do anything as significant as killing a main character. And that brings me to my next complaint. Killing characters outside of campaign. Remember Farah's brother Hadir? The one who actually stole the Russian gas, whom we captured and gave to Russia as bargaining chip for peace? They killed him off screen in the Special Ops mission. This happened in Modern Warfare 2. Hadir dies warning us about Makarov, but it didn't happen in the campaign. And no, I do not consider Special Ops as part of campaign. That's another debate, but Hadir's death was used just to hype up Makarov. With all said and done, now comes the gameplay part. Yeah, let's keep it short. Gameplay was literal copy-paste from previous game, with some changes like overall speed, gun handling and movement, etc. And with the semi-open world missions, or weapons-free as Call of Duty likes to call it. I liked the idea on paper. I even liked one or two missions, but then half of the missions turned out to be weapons-free missions, and it was not fun. The classic Call of Duty vibe was long gone. You see, with the game as it is, we were gonna complain anyways, but there was no need to rub the salt on our wounds by killing off a major character like Soap. I'm tired. I'm tired of watching a beautiful story go to waste because some man in suit wanted more money. I am tired of crying and complaining and then all of it going to waste. I am tired of complaining itself. I am tired of us going through the same cycle of excitement for new Call of Duty because of attention-grabbing cheap marketing stunt and then complaining about the game as soon as it releases. I guess I'm just tired of Call of Duty for now. But guess who's excited for Gulf War? Jokes apart, I may be part of a group who are actually tired of Call of Duty, but in classic Call of Duty fashion, there is always another group that is excited and happy with Call of Duty. And I know it's quite a longer video than most of my other videos, so I appreciate you sticking up until now. Thank you so much.